Hi everybody, and welcome to what could be our last of the series of informal video chats that we do during this COVID-19 please stay at home. So it's up to you whether we do any more or not, but at this present time it'll be the last one. And so what I wanted to talk about is how we're going to move on from here and what can we expect. And I guess more of the same is pretty much what is going to happen in due course. So first up, thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and if you haven't seen them, there is a series of them that we have put out across in the previous 6, 7 or 8 weeks, whatever it's been. So as we move into level 2, what can we expect? Well, you'll see automatically and from the start, a lot of people are feeling reluctant about going back to work. Some people just are in what we can expect from now on. Lots of people feeling uncertain about probably what could happen, what might happen. There's still some rules around what we are going to be doing. We're not allowed to apparently meet in certain places, but can in others. And there's distancing, but is there distancing? Is it 1.5 meters, 2 meters, a meter? What is it? So as we go through the next few weeks, there is going to be a lot of uncertainty going on, a lot of anxiousness. Now, a little bit of a personal story here, I guess. I woke up this morning quite angry, and I have done it for 3 or 4 or 5 times across recent months, across recent weeks rather, and this morning more so than ever. Things don't seem to be going right. You know, I wake up this morning and I'm getting this book published. I mean, how crazy is that? I'm getting a book published and I'm sort of discussing about the cover and little details of it and finding myself getting angry. You know, something I ordered, a new camera hasn't arrived and it's not due for another 3, 4, 5 days, and just everything. I'm finding all these negative things going on, and a lot of us have been like that throughout this time. No matter who you are, at some stage in this last few weeks, we've been finding that. And I have to say, it's probably going to get worse. So you may have noticed over the last few weeks that your highs have been higher and your lows have been lower. And that's because we're in a heightened state as we move through this. Yes, it's great to go out and exercise, and we enjoy it so much, don't we? We get out there and we're training, we're gymming, we're finding this new time with our families and with our close ones. But when we come back to reality, when we start to think about what life might be like, we get anxious and we get a little bit anxious, I guess is the best way of saying it. So our responses and emotional responses we can expect to get even worse. And the reason being pretty simple is that our brain has been under a lot of pressure lately, right? So it's been tightened. Our brain is sort of like a muscle. It's not really, but it's sort of like it. When it works, it gets tired, and so it needs to rest. And we need to rest, sleep. We need to get sleep. And we haven't been able to sleep, or if we have sleep, we've had some weird dreams. So we haven't done some full rest. And a lot of us, those that have really got into this and said, right, I'm going to use this time, have got busier and busier and busier, and now we're tired. So during times of uncertainty, during times of when we go through our trials and troubles, our brain tightens, right, and it stays tight. And it has to have a chance at some point to loosen up and to process the information that has been absorbed into our brain and into our memory. And if it doesn't have that opportunity to do so, to relax, to process, it'll stay tight, and then it can't stay tight for too long, right? So things are going to start to happen. So we might be finding it starting to relax just a little bit, and then all of a sudden it'll tighten up again and we'll become emotional. We'll find we'll start to tear up at things or get angry and hostile. You'll see that, you know, domestic violence is starting to rise again. And why is that? Because we're starting to, I guess, be too close sometimes, and we haven't had that time to relax and be apart. So we haven't had time, our brain hasn't had time from this massive event. Look, I wouldn't be surprised if out of this we have people finding PTSD. You know, PTSD doesn't necessarily have to be a traumatic event, although for some this has been a traumatic event. For others it's not, but each of us is different. So how are we going to get through this? Well, we got to try. So in fight or flight, and you've heard me talk about this all the time, and it's because it's really important. people that get frustrated, I'm sick of hearing about fight or flight. Well, you know, it's what our brain does. And we've just put a post out last week on freeze and what is freeze. So we have fight or flight, and it's just that, and sometimes we freeze. And it goes in that order. So depending on what we're going through, we will either fight is the first layer. If we don't think that we're able to fight, we will flee. And if we don't think we'll be able to do that, we will freeze. So it works in that order. Now, what the science around this is saying is that when we go into fight or flight, our sympathetic nervous system takes over, right? So it sympathizes with our brain, is the way I liken it, and our breathing becomes short and shallow, carbon dioxide builds up in our lungs, our heart rate and blood pressure rise, and we feel anxious, right? So that's fight or flight. The difference is, though, with freeze, is that it's called our parasympathetic, in other words, paralyzes. But what they found, scientists have found, is our breathing becomes longer, and our heart rate drops, and everything starts to calm during that freeze session. And that really is what we want to engage our parasympathetic during what's going to go out on the next 3 or 4 or 5 weeks. So it's called, and you've heard me say this time and time again, but I'm going to say it, diaphragmatic breathing, full breathing into the lungs. Now, some of the latest stuff around this is all breathing must be done through the nose, and we sort of know that, but there's some stuff from February or March 2020 come out of a university saying that when we breathe through our nose, our refractory system, which is a smell, our sense of smell, the more we can engage that, the better off we are. So we're going to do that breathing techniques. I'm not going to go through them now, so don't worry. Go back and find those breathing techniques in previous videos, but make sure you're doing it through your nose. So what are we going to do in the next 3 or 4 weeks? Well, I'll tell you what, don't make any rash decisions. Take your time. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. When you feel angry, and I've done it here this morning, I was going to send off some emails and you should have seen the content, and I didn't send them. I stopped and waited and went, no, that's not the right thing. I got onto Twitter. If you ever want to get out vengeance, just go onto Twitter. And I started typing some things out. I went, don't, stop it. And so I typed them out, delete, and walked away. Went and had a cup of tea, had to sit down. And so don't make rash decisions. It's in what they say often in rugby terms, crouch and hold. Just sit and wait. Don't make any decisions immediately. Wait until things unfold. Secure your immediate needs just like you've been doing recently. So start gathering, food, water, shelter, air. Start securing with your family. Some people don't want to go back to work. In fact, a lot of people, probably more people than not, don't want to go back to work. Why? Because we do feel safe in our little bubble. Now, don't we? We've got our family around us. We've got the food, water, shelter, all that sort of stuff. Most of us have got that sorted out. Those that haven't are still trying to. So secure your immediate needs and look for new opportunities as they appear. When we go through times of adversity, it is often a great time to change what we're doing. So look for new opportunities if that's the right time for you. What could you make out of this? We've really come together and there's been some great inventiveness. How can you reinvent yourself? So focus on that. Always keep moving forward. Forward is the direction we're going in. Look back to what we've done. Yes, that's all well and good. And look back to see how far you've come. But just see how you might move forward and make yourself plans. So nothing really changes except slow yourself down even more so than the last 3 or 4 weeks. That would be my biggest advice. Don't make rash decisions. If you are struggling, and please let me say this, that a lot of us are going to struggle coming out of this because we're trying to find the new norm. We haven't found it yet. And this changing from level to level to level is unhelpful because we have to relearn and redo things in what we're doing. So don't do anything rash. Lastly, before we finish off this video, I want to thank you all for your ongoing support. We've had wonderful support throughout. I've been able to work, to do work from home. Hopefully these videos have been helpful for you. Go back and have a look at some others if you don't. I've had people reaching out to me on occasion, by phone, by whatever, text message or whatever, and I've sat with people and helped them. In fact, one last night, we sat and did a breathing exercise and contacted him this morning, and he said, wow, fantastic. So I do hope that we've been able to help you in some small way. Reach out if you do need help. And finally, I want you to know this. Do leave comments, and thank you for those comments that have been coming through as well. If you want me to do another one of these videos, I will, but I'm kind of thinking you probably have enough of me. But if you haven't, then just perhaps put a comment in on what topic you'd like, and we'll do that again. As someone who has been involved in the wellness industry, I guess, for a long time, more time than I care to think about, and somebody who's been down in that mire, the one thing that I have discovered about myself, and even though I have really find myself getting angry this morning, I had to calm down about 10 minutes before coming on air here. I just really did. And so know this, that you are better than you think you are and stronger than you think you are. It's just about figuring out what's going on inside of our heads. And that's what you have to figure out. I've just got a message come through for people returning to school, for kids returning to school. Absolutely, they're going to be more cautious, don't like the word anxious, than ever before. So some will be excited about going back to school, but they're going to have some rules around that. So nothing changes to what we've already done with our kids. And that is to know that if all else fails, they've got their home, right? And that's where the safety lies, in your home, in your bubble. Ask them about how their day was. Ask them about how they felt about their day. And we can do this for all of us, just not for kids, for ourselves. Ask me how I'm feeling right now. Angry, anxious, cautious, uncertain, maybe a little bit happy at times. It's just that emotional stuff we're going through. So particularly for our young, and the reason why I say particularly for our young is because they're more vulnerable. Their brains are different to ours. You would have heard me say this. They're more empathic. They're more understanding of each other, and some of them are reacting negatively and trying to hurt others. But certainly, can I say, reassure your children that they are safe wherever they go, that they are being looked after, that you're there if they need to, and that they can reach out at any stage for help to you should they need to. So coming back to this, look, I'm going to end it here. Can I say my usual sign off is, apart from let's talk, is go with your heart and not your head, because your heart knows best. In these times when our brain is trying to figure out things, all it's doing is comparing with our past. We compare all our time. We haven't got anything like this before. Our heart is the key to this, because that's where it's linked to the brain, by the way, but that's where our truth is. So know that you are better and stronger than you think you are. I've loved being with you over the last few weeks. Thank you so very much. Perhaps we'll meet again. Take care. Bye for now.